Okay, so Ephesians 4 Bible study for beginners. So if you are a beginner, then this video is perfect for you because that's what we're going to be covering right now. And I'm going to read it over here because I don't have a physical Bible with me. So, as a prisoner for the Lord, then I urge you to live life worthy of the calling you have received. Be completely humble and gentle. Be patient, having with one another, bearing with one another in love, making every effort to keep the unity of the Spirit through the bond of peace. There is one body and one Spirit, just as you were called to hope when you were called. One Lord, one faith, one baptism, one God and Father of all, who is over all, through all, and in all, basically. So how to overcome conflict is understanding that we're all on the same team, we're all one, we all have unity with each other. And also humility is also super huge as well. In Ephesians 4:2, it says, be completely humble and gentle, be patient, bearing with one another in love. So being humble is super essential to being able to overcome conflict with other people, just taking the lower seat and being they can be right and I can be right at the same time in some cases. And also just Christians and people that are in the family of believers, we're all on the same team, you and me. If you believe the same stuff, like that Jesus died on the cross, the basics about what God is clear on in the word, that Jesus came to earth, he died for us, and he was resurrected, then then we have unity and we're on the same team. And there's situations and things that are above that really aren't as essential as the basics. And so my roommate Caleb, who I've been honored to be able to disciple, he's one of the most humble dudes I know. And because he was so humble, he had an insane amount of growth. So if you're a beginner and you're just starting on this journey, really be humble, and you taking a humble heart and you being hungry and wanting to learn is going to allow you to grow a ton. So just think about that. And the next thing is great news for beginners from Jesus. Ephesians 4:11, starting there. So Christ himself gave the apostles, the prophets, the evangelists, the pastors, and teachers to equip his people for works of service, so that the body of Christ may be built up until we all reach unity in the faith and in the knowledge of the Son of God, and become mature, attaining to the whole measure of the fullness of Christ. So Christ came and he's working in people to make us mature. So Jesus wants you to become mature. Jesus wants beginners to grow, basically. And so I'm going to keep reading as well. So in Ephesians 4:14, it says, then we will no longer be infants, tossed back and forth by the waves and blown here and there by every kind of teaching, and by the cunning and craftiness of people in their deceitful scheming. So it's growing in your faith means you're firm in it, and you're I don't care what society says, this is what the word says, and I'm sticking to this. I don't care what my emotions say sometimes, I'm sticking to the word and I'm standing on this. And so Jesus wants you to grow, and he wants you to become solid in the word and not be an infant and be strong in it. And that's that's a really big thing, and you can do that. And he wants you to grow into that person probably more than you want to. And so just Jesus wants that for you. So Jesus wants. In Ephesians chapter 4 verse 20, it says, that however is not the way you learned when you heard about Christ and were taught in him in accordance with the truth that is in Jesus. You were taught with regard to your former way of life. And then it says to put off your old self, which is being corrupted by its deceitful desires. So and then in verse 23 it says, so to be made new in the attitude of your minds, and to put on the new self, created to be like God in true righteousness and holiness. So corruption or life, either our old self or our new self, is we choose one or the other. And notice that it says, which is being corrupted. Corruption is not good. Corruption is bad. We don't want that at all. So it's it's not even good to do stuff that we used to do. It's not good to do the sins and to be impure, but to be holy. Being holy is good for us. It's good for our bodies. And so it's just really important to remember that if you're a beginner. Ephesians 4:29 says, do not let any unwholesome talk come out of your mouths, but only what is helpful for the building up of others according to their minds, that it may benefit those who listen. Really don't gossip. That's bad. Don't talk about other believers negatively. Just like encourage them, be like, compliment them, be like, I like this part about you. From Caleb, my roommate, like, he's came a long way in his faith, and I'm like, I really like his humility, and I'll like tell him that as well as just like sharing it right now. So just like compliment other people and don't like talk negatively about them. That's Ephesians chapter 4 Bible study. We gone.